welcome to today's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. Today we have coming to you from a racetrack near you, Mad Maxine. Maxine, tell us about yourself. There we go.
So I am Mad Maxine. I am the backup girl for the Mad Max Nitro funny car. So a lot of people, the main question that I get is, what exactly do I do? And so essentially I am a filler. So if they need something randomly done, then they ask me, hey, Shannon, can you help with this? But my main job is actually backing the car up. So if you're not familiar with drag racing, you have to warm your tires up. And so they do a burnout. And so drag racing are funny cars. None of them have side mirrors. So they have no idea where they're at on the track. And so a long time ago, they came up with the concept of having a backup girl to essentially signal them and show them where they need to go to put the car in the groove to get ready to make the lap. And so that's my job essentially in a nutshell is I signal the driver on where he needs to be in relation to the groove on the track to get them all lined up, ready to go. But as far as outside of the track, my job is pretty much anything that they ask me to do. Recently, my husband posted a picture of me laying on the underside of the car, and I was polishing the crank after a really kind of rough run that we had. And so, he hadn't eaten lunch yet. And so he was down there just polishing the crank. And I was like, well, I could do that. So I was just sitting down there chiseling away, like trying to get it ready for the next run. But yeah, essentially me in a nutshell. I do a lot of just random things. And recently, ever since I became popular, my tasks of actually touching the car are very limited. I don't have a lot of time to do that. I sign autographs in between runs, take pictures with fans, and I am in charge of keeping the crowd entertained in between. Like, so if somebody oils down the track or something, I'll go out there with t-shirts or just random merch and I'll throw it at people. But so that essentially that's me in a nutshell.
I see that you're also on Facebook and you're doing videos of you working on a Jeep and you're working on vehicles.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, I love it that you're the one you were sitting there. It says 10 millimeter. I was like, yes. I was like, I had to post. I was like, anytime I go to a flea market, garage sale, anywhere I go, and there's 10 millimeter sockets, Rich, I grab them because I lost so many of them over the years.
It's like have little teeny tiny feet and they just like run away. But
Yeah.
I have 3 socket sets. Every single one of them is missing the 10 millimeter. So I have to make the venture over. Luckily, the job that I'm working on right now, it doesn't require a 10 millimeter. But yeah, I'll have to go buy them when I'm ready for that.
Well, the other one that disappears on me is the Star Drive. I can't remember what size it is, but I use it to fix on the brakes on my wife's old van, and it's supposed to be the right size. It does not fit. So the socket, I can't find it. So I have to use a stupid the Allen key Star Drive, which is a pain in the butt when you're working on stuff underneath
Yeah.
the car.
Yeah.
So you are connected with the Mad Max Mustang funny car.
Yep.
That is a pretty car. I did see footage of them racing against Irish Car Bomb recently.
Yes.
I think I've seen Irish Car Bomb at a car show around here, so that's funny that it happened to be on your video. And I said, I'm all the way in Ohio, and I think I saw it in Columbus, maybe.
Yeah. So Edgewater Sports Park, that's actually my favorite track, is in Cleves, Ohio. And we're actually going to be hitting that track up twice this year. We're going to be there the first time in June. So June 21st, I think, is the date on that one. And then we're going to be there again August 10th. And we actually have 2 nitro burning cars. So the second race in August, we will have both of our cars there. My husband and his dad are actually going to be racing each other. So we'll have 2 passes there. So they're really looking forward to it.
Nice. And how did you get into was okay? Was the marriage first or was the racing first?
So technically, the racing was first, as far as that goes. My husband and I have been married 2 years now, and I've been around drag racing for about 5 years now. But the drag racing did come with my husband. Before that, I didn't even know what a funny car was. So as soon as I signed up for this, I knew I had a big job of trying to learn everything. And so one thing that I like to pride myself on is actually know what I'm talking about. So if something goes wrong with the car, if we have issues with it, if the car runs really well, I like to be able to tell my fans, hey, this is what we did, and this is why it worked, or this is why it didn't work, and this is what happened as a result. And so 5 years is not very long to try to cram all that information in. I don't for a second try to tell people that I know everything. I just try to know just enough, right now to get by and to be able to talk to people.
Yeah, because it's nice having somebody who knows what they're talking about, can talk, in layman terms and stuff like that. See, my father-in-law was a mechanic, and so I learned from him. And I also found out because I was one of the ones I hated working on cars, and then because you always had to work on them to fix them because they were broken. And then once I
Yep.
actually got to where I could work on cars to, as my father-in-law used to say, fiddle with them to make, I actually enjoyed it because it wasn't work at
Yeah.
that point. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, see, I know how to tear stuff apart, put it back together, but I don't know exactly what to call what and everything. So that I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm the last person
The
who would
thingy
ask.
bob.
Yeah, I was like, I can fix it. I don't know how I fix it, but I can fix it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So did learning to fix the cars and stuff like that, did that come with the husband in a race car, or were you working on cars beforehand?
No, I was actually doing stuff beforehand. So
Okay.
it all started, I had this little Dodge Neon and I was probably 18 or 19. And it had issues with the brakes. And looking back now, I know exactly what was wrong with it. But I didn't have anybody to help me fix it. And it was to the point where it wasn't stopping. So my grandpa was actually too old at the time to get under the car to be able to take the wheel off and do all that. So that's one of my favorite memories about learning. Was my grandpa sat in his chair in his garage and he'd just point to stuff and say, "You have to do this, 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 and this," and he taught me how to do my brakes. And I'm a hands-on learner, so
Yeah.
I not necessarily know how to do something up front, but if I get my hands on it and I start, and then it's natural. I don't know, it just comes to me. But after I learned how to do brakes, my next vehicle that I enjoyed working on was my Jeep. So I had an '07 JK. It was my first manual transmission, and I was obsessed with it. And I don't know if you're familiar with Jeeps, but Jeeps, there's so many different things that you can do to them,
Hmm.
like changing the fenders, changing the bumpers, like all these modifications that you can do. But I don't like people touching my stuff. I don't trust people touching my stuff. I had an oil change done in it one time. And when she went ahead, "Do you need windshield wipers?" "Yeah, I do." "Just go ahead, throw them on." And they actually messed up. I don't know how you mess up windshield wipers, but they did. And so it was like right in the middle of a storm, and I turned my windshield wipers on, and the whole freaking windshield wiper just flew off. It scratched my windshield, and I'm livid. And so from then on, I said nobody is touching this Jeep except for me. And so I had knick-knacky things that went wrong. I had an EGR valve that went bad, and then all of my modifications, all my wiring. I'm a YouTube mechanic. I look it up on YouTube. That
Yep.
looks pretty easy. I'd go out, buy the stuff I needed, and I'd get it done. So
Oh
it
yeah.
definitely started there.
Well, that's what people don't understand. You can figure out about everything on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
When my father-in-law passed away, because he's the one that would walk me through about everything. When he passed away, I started like, oh crap, now how am I gonna learn? So I started going to YouTube, and I was like, oh, okay, 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 okay. I figured it out. So I'm literally got
Yeah,
I got my phone up on like on the fender, and I'm up underneath the car working on it.
yeah,
And
absolutely. Thank you too.
yeah, YouTube's great for working on cars. And it's so much fun now because now I can do it, and it's like it's more of a hobby now than actually having to be the guy that works on the cars. And
Yeah.
I just bought well, I can't say just bought. I bought a 1985 two-door Crown Vic with the 302 in it. And my one buddy's like, oh, he goes, oh, I bought this car with rose-colored glasses on and stuff like that. And he's like, now it needs this work. And he goes, how much is it gonna cost you to fix it? I was like, nothing. It's gonna cost me nothing because I'm gonna do it all myself. It's got
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, my dad still he's a welder and stuff, so there's a couple little holes that need fixed. So we're just gonna trim them out, refill the whole, everything. And it was gonna cost him thousands of dollars, and it's gonna cost me nothing because I'm gonna do it myself.
Yeah.
My dad. But like I said, you're out there, you're busting your butt. You're doing the videos, working on cars. You're out there on the track. You're out there. Have you ever raced, or is that
So
something?
I did the Pure Speed experience. It was 3 years ago now, and I took 4 hits down the track in a dragster. It actually it had a hole out, so it didn't go as fast as it could have, but I still did about 148 miles an hour. But we've got some exciting news. Not quite ready to release it yet, but stay tuned on that one. But yeah, I got my helmet. My husband and my father-in-law actually got me a helmet. I think it was 2 years ago. For my birthday, and in anticipation, like, hey, we know you're interested in driving. You'll get there someday. Here's the initial thing that you need. So the fire suit and everything is coming behind it, but
See, you got it
stay
better than
tuned.
me. My father-in-law, he's like, I think you could race. And he goes, I was like, why? He goes, nothing would slow you down because you got to be. I'm one of the people I can go, going 100 mile an hour even in my regular life. And he goes, I don't think you're smart enough to slow down. I went, is it what? He goes, I'm pretty sure that car would be on fire. And you're like, I think I can still win this.
Yeah, just keep going.
And he goes, yeah, he goes, because I'm one of the people that I actually gave him back a car. He gave me a 87 Camaro at one point, and this thing would flat fly. He had done tons of work to it, gave it to me, and everybody wanted to race me. So I would never pass up a race. So I beat everybody I raced against. And one day I looked at him, I walked up and I handed him the keys, and he goes, "What's this? I'm gonna die in that car. I need you to take it away from me for a little bit." And it was fun, but it was one of the ones where I was like, I gotta slow down. I'm out on the
That's
track.
right there.
Yeah. So now he was like, we need to get you a race car and get you on the track. He goes, I think that's where you're going to be the safest. I'm like, all right. So we never made it that far, but we were close. So and but I
Yeah.
also grew up 15 minutes away from a drag strip. I lived there with me, and my parents took me there when I was a kid. It was one of the ones where I grew up on an oval track, and then we would go to the other. So racing's been in my life since I was a little kid, and I still ain't slowed down yet. um, do you like? Let's see if I put it this way. Um, a lot of women I've noticed they get like, oh, you're a girl that likes cars. You're a girl that likes cars. And I think that's kind of bull because it should be, you're somebody that likes cars. You're somebody that's into working on them and stuff like that.
Sure.
It shouldn't matter if, man, woman, whatever. I've seen little, kids out there working on the cars. Like, oh man, that's great.
Oh
Yeah, that's great. It's working on cars. My kids are going to be my older sons are going to be helping me soon because I'm getting ready to start ripping a Camaro apart behind my house here soon, and getting it all good and going. Um, but do you? Let me think. Let me think. Trying to figure out how to word this here. Do you think it's unfair that they'll look at women? I mean, I'm sure you do. That they're like, oh, it's a girl in racing. It's a girl in racing, and it's a novelty. And I don't think it should be at all because I grew up in,
Sure.
yeah, we had sure, what was it? Oh God, why I'm drawing a blank on her name. The world famous drag racer,
Shirley Muldowney.
Shirley Downey. Yeah, I'm like my brain was like Shirley. No, that's the actress Shirley. Yeah, and like that was when I was a kid. I'm 50. I was like, that shouldn't be a thing now, but it still is, and it's a novelty, and I don't believe it should be. And it's like I watch Road Trend or Motor Trend, so I watch Roadkill and stuff like that, which I absolutely love. But you have All Girl Garage, and I like that because it's showing. But I also think you don't need to have All Girl Garage. You can just be like,
Yeah.
these girls are working on cars. End of discussion. Well, my wife's same way. She doesn't want to work on cars, but she knows her dad's taught her all that stuff, so she's good to go. And
Yeah.
it is cool because I've seen the pictures. Your kids out there wrenching on cars and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
That's
Hmm.
great. Um, I had to finally my adult children. I'm like, come on, I'm done with this. I'm not fixing your car. You're coming out here and working on it with me. So we
Do it
turned.
yourself.
Yeah, you're gonna learn to do this yourself. And you're right. It's one of those you know, I have my car that's my everyday driver, and it seems like everybody hits it because it's my car that I love. I have a Dodge Magnum, 2007 Dodge Magnum. I love my car.
Okay.
I've owned it 3 years. It's been hit 3 times, and
Oh God.
one time they took the whole front end off. Um, and now I got it back. It's not 100%, and it's like, ah. So this summer I got to jack it all up, get up underneath there, figure out where the leaks are at and stuff like that because insurance I can't. I send it off to get worked on, and of course it comes back. It's got an oil leak, slow one, so it's not horrible, and it does have a power steering fluid leak, and it's like I didn't have any of this before it got it.
Gosh, it's always something.
Oh yeah, and you're right. My wife, my mother-in-law's cars, I'll take them. Let people do the oil changes on that, so I don't have to mess with that. My cars, no, it's mine. I work on it. I will
Yeah.
fiddle with it. I will do whatever I want with it. It's mine. You can't touch it. My mom actually asked to borrow my car the other day, and I was like, no. I was like, yeah, you can drive this one. You ain't driving that one. um, but it's really cool. I like seeing you guys out there. You guys are it's definitely family run, family owned, drag, and it's kicking butt. Um, it's I gotta ask, which came first? Uh, uh, Mad Max, the car, or you guys coming up with the was together as a couple? I guess I want to say.
So Dave actually, I don't remember what year he bought that mask, but it's been a long process with that car. So it's actually my father-in-law's car. And so he bought it, and I don't know if it necessarily sat for a while. That's something that I'll have to ask him about. But it was a long process to get it where it was. I came along, and the first time we took it out, we actually ran it as an altered, but it shook the tires so bad that it completely obliterated the body. It took the wing off. I mean, it was wrecked after that. So Mad Max, and the best part is it was all black. I'll have to find a picture of it, post it, but it was all black, and we were going for the Mad Max theme. It was
Yeah.
dark. It was just the ultimate machine. And then after that, we went with a Mustang body. And it was an older Mustang. It was 97 Mustang body that I think we had on it. We ran it for a season, and then we got the current body after we tore the other body up. So then we put the new one on, and then we've ran it since for 2 seasons now that we've ran it with the current body. But no, Mad Max came along first, and then there was a backup girl contest, and it was $500 to win, and I was like, heck, I could do that. So I threw myself in the next race, and then we came up with wouldn't it be funny if we called Shannon Mad Maxine, like, after the car? And so, it snowballed after that. Mad Maxine came along and just took the scene by storm, and she is what she is now. So.
Oh, you definitely got to post those pictures. I love Mad Max. That's my dream car. Where everybody else is like, "Oh, my dream car is this." Is like, I want the Interceptor. I want the black on black Interceptor.
Yep.
I came this close. That was the one year my wife said we had the money. I was like, I found the Ford Falcon from Australia. I was going to buy it. The price was right. Then I found out how much it was going to cost to ship from Australia to America, and it was more than the car was going to cost me to buy. And
Gosh.
so now I hate to say this because it's a Ford, but I think I have an 82 Camaro. I think I'm going to just rip it apart and I'm going to turn it into an Interceptor because it's all body. So
yeah,
it look cool. But that is awesome. I love the Mad Max stuff. I'm a huge fan. I love the Mad Maxine and the fact you went from the decided to just enter a contest and the next thing you know you're blowing up everywhere and it's freaking awesome. So I probably should get your husband on here so we could ask him questions. So how long has he been racing?
Oh, he's been racing his whole life.
His whole life?
I think he said he started when he was about 9.
Was it go-karts? The funny cart?
He started junior dragsters.
Okay. Because we have friends of my dad's, all of his whole family was drag racing. So even his grandkids, they had those little tiny drag cars and stuff like that. And I'm like, how fast will this go? And he's like, to do 90, 95, 100.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a go-kart, man. I was like, you're getting your
yeah.
And then I'm talking to his son, and he had the drag bike, and then his dad did the full funny car, and you had him in the garage. You had a little tiny dragster, and then you had the bike, and then you had the funny car. But his son, he's like, "Oh yeah, I used to win." He goes, "I had to retire," and I was like, "What happened?" He goes, "I decided to look back." I was like, "What do you mean look back?" He goes, "I won," and I went to see how much I won by. And he goes, as soon as I turned, it went over. And he's like, I woke up 11 months later in the hospital. And he goes, I haven't been on the bike since. I'm like, oh, geez, dude. He goes, I work on them all day long. He's, I ain't getting back on one. I don't blame you, man.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, our son's 9, and he's getting ready to start in on his junior dragster. We had it out on the street the other day, so.
Oh, that's cool. That's real cool. And people don't understand because there's just no slightly wrecking a funny car. You do so much damage to like even if you do a little bit because it's everything's so perfectly aligned. Everything is so any little bit of anything will screw up a car. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And the traction thing, the burnouts and stuff, that's to get all the traction and stuff for those who do not know, who watch my show. And you got to get in a block, burn them up and stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't even pay attention that they don't have rear view mirrors. And that's sad. I didn't notice that. It's so cool that like I said, that you're out there at the track. You've gone from being, the backup girl, you're still a backup girl, but you were in there wrenching on cars. Now you're Mad Maxine. You're out there giving the merch, making sure people are watching and stuff like that. Which did you like more? Did you like working on the car, or do you like being Mad Maxine, being the model there that you are?
That's a loaded question. So when I started it, and I'm not a girly girl. I do wear makeup and I do my hair and stuff, but the entire time, like my process of getting ready, I'm putting fake eyelashes on. I don't like it. I think it's ridiculous. And so, there's parts of Mad Maxine that I actually enjoy more. Getting ready and doing all the girly girl stuff, that's not one of them. But being able to talk to and relate to my fans and just really getting to know people I enjoy that 100%. You know, when I get people that specifically come to a race just to meet me, I mean, you know, that just, it does it for me. It means the world. And so stuff like that, it makes being Mad Maxine worth it. Would I rather have a place working on the car? Yes. And I've said that previously in some of my live videos and stuff. But, you know, we have a small, I mean, she's in the back of the van right now. But she's only 3. And so I still need to be able to chase her down if she like takes off somewhere. And so me having a spot working on the car right now, it's just not feasible. Maybe next year, once we get Ryan's car going, I'd like to have my own tasks on his car, and kind of go from there. But yeah, you know, I'm itching for a driver's seat. You know, I want to get in a car, I want to drive, and I want to be hands-on working on the car. But right now, we just, especially this past race, we've only had 1 race season so far. But I was busy nonstop. I didn't even have time to even essentially look at the car other than when I was backing it up, just because I had so many people coming up to me and talking to me. Lots of great conversation. Also great sponsors. So Callaway Customs, that's my 2024 boot sponsor. Got to give them a shout out. That, and I've got sponsors for my other races that actually come out to the race, as well. So constantly engaging with people. So I really don't have time to work on the car right now, but maybe next year.
Yeah, it's people. It's always, you're never not working on a race car, unless it's running. It's like, unless it's in.
Yeah.
And that's any race car. I mean, that's, you're always working on it. So I guess I gotta ask, do you have any advice for women getting into racing or getting into being part of a race team? What would you tell them?
So any woman that's actually thinking about, you know, I'm gonna hit on the backup girl thing first, because I feel like that's so important, and there's so many women that are in the pits that are able to do this. There's a lot of the girls that go out there and they're introverts. Like, I, believe it or not, nobody will believe me when I say this, but I was an introvert. I still kind of am. But when I started this, I would put these outfits on. I felt ridiculous. Like, I was the only woman that was dressing up. And I felt stupid. I'm just like standing out there, everybody's staring at me, and it bothered me. But you know, my advice is just to push through it. You know, you're not the only one out there. You don't look ridiculous. And just to go for it. Cause I mean, just, that's one thing that I don't regret at all, is pushing through and keep like putting myself out there. It's tough, especially online. I still, to this day, I get lots of negative comments daily, about my appearance, about what I'm wearing, what I'm not wearing. Like, so that part of it's really hard, and you really have to have a thick skin to be able to put up with that.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the winter, I actually had to take a break from social media, and I took about a week or 2, and I wasn't anywhere, because, you know, the people that were like harassing me and insulting me, it got so bad that I couldn't handle it anymore. And so at that point, I was just like, you know what, I can take this one way, or I can take it another way. I can make fun of these guys that are making fun of me, or I could sit here and I can cry about it. And so, you know, and that's part of my therapy, I guess you could say, is firing back and having that power to basically make them feel like they're this tall. And almost 99% of the time, I ended up getting blocked. But for women that are wanting to do the whole backup girl thing but don't want the backlash, you just gotta ignore it. It's just, you're gonna have hate. I don't know what it is. Any woman in motorsports, whether you're driving, whether you're working on the car, or whether you're backing the car up, you're gonna have negativity. It's just, it's not common enough yet. Women being in motorsports, I know there's a lot in the pro series now, but I mean, until we're 50-50, where there's half women, half men, it's going to be that way. And there's people that are stuck in their old ways that think that women don't belong in motorsports, and they don't belong in any male dominated industry. And it's just the turning of the centuries, you know, it's just,
Oh yeah.
that's not the way anymore. Yes, it used to be that way, but it's not that way anymore.
No.
So for any women that's thinking about doing it, full bore, head down, just power through and go for it.
Well, this was my advice. When people started hating me for doing my stuff, I go, that's how I knew I made it. That I live rent free in these people's heads that they
Yep,
have to hate me. I'm like, fine, I'm here now. You're gonna have to
yep.
think about, and that's the way I think you should. It's like, yeah, just whatever, you know. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be, you know, social media. You get a lot of people because there's, you know, there's no repercussions because they don't have to confront you face to face because they don't have balls enough to do that.
Yep,
And they
yep.
wouldn't because they're never going to step up to you and go, oh, it's bullshit what you do. Because I mean, sorry about that, 'cause your kids. I'm sorry,
No,
but
you're fine.
it's one of the ones where you know, if you're doing good, you're doing good work, you're doing stuff, you know, that you enjoy, and yeah, I mean, you look good doing it. You can't, you know, I think that's one of the problems is that people were like, a pretty girl can't do that, you know, or
Yeah.
whatever, and it's bullshit because you know I get again. Sorry. Uh, my son would be back here yelling at me, Dad, you can't say that word. I'm like, all right, bud, shut up.
Yeah, my mom say it.
And but no, it's the same thing. I mean, my wife has gotten crap because she knows her stuff around cars. Her dad was a mechanic, so she's always known stuff. And people are like, oh well, you know, you got so they think that as a woman, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You're out there, like I said, you're working on the car. You're a backup girl. You're wanting to be a racer and stuff like that. It shouldn't matter. And yes, people are going to do that, but you're living rent free in their heads. They have to take that time out of their day to be upset with you, and you
Oh yeah.
don't be that way.
And there's more positivity than there is negativity.
Oh yeah,
It's 100 times more positive than it is negative. Like literally, it's probably 1% of my people that are on my page that are just there to lurk and just to have a negative opinion. But I have so much support that it doesn't faze me anymore. It really doesn't. My feelings don't get hurt anymore. I think it's hilarious. And so I let them go, you know. And I've got a project in the works for all my current trolls. And so hopefully I'll have it completed by Eddyville. So we'll see, but I got a present for him. So
nice, nice, and you know it doesn't hurt, you know, because you know you like I said, you're out there, you're doing all this work, and I think it's one of the ones where you know people look at you and like you know oh she's too good looking to know what she's talking about because you'll get that stuff which I think is but it's you know and then they're like oh well she's wearing a costume she's out there doing this that's she's nothing more than you know a glorified you know but it's not just because you can
yeah.
do that but you do this and that's just part of what you do and it's not
Mm-hmm.
you're all of what you do and you know yes there are probably women out there that are just backup girls that are just there to you know that's it the end of their job boom done and you're not you're doing all this other stuff you're also you know like I said working on cars you're doing the videos showing you working on just your regular cars and stuff like that and you know people need to get away from that kind of bullcrap man attitude and you know and it is what it is you know and it's unfortunate and I think with women like you out there moving you know showing them like hey this is what we do this is what we're out there working on car we're out there doing this we're doing this we're doing this doing this and I think it's awesome and you know you've got a you know pretty you know from what it sounds like a really good support system and you're out there supporting your husband and your father-in-law and you know your kid and
Oh yeah.
you know you're on you know we're filming this on Mother's Day and you're being a badass mom on you know doing all this stuff for your you know your family so I thumbs up for you congratulations you know
Thank you.
it is. And so I do got to ask where can we see Mad Maxine coming up this year?
Mad Maxine coming up this year. So I don't very often, but so I just started a female organization myself and Nitro Alley. So if you follow Nitro Alley on Facebook, she is another example of a phenomenal woman. She's very well, she presents herself very well, and she knows her way around the track. And so her and I have actually started a program for women. So we call it the NDRA. The NDRA is National Drag Racing Ambassadors, and it's basically women representing women in drag racing. And so for that, we are starting off a little small this year. We're not really going to roll it out fully until next year. But I will be at 66, which is it's an NHRA sanctioned race, so it's all the pro teams next Friday. And I'm bringing my husband along for that one. He didn't get to go to Vegas with me this last time, but we're doing 66 on Friday. And then our next race is going to be in Eddyville. So Eddyville has the best fans. You know, I have my favorite track, but you know, the fans at Eddyville, there's just something about them. But we're going to be there the 24th to go down on Nitro Chaos. And then after that, we've got, I don't have exact dates, but if you follow my Facebook page, I'll have exact dates. But we got Milan, we got Edgewater, California at the end of the season. So lots of good races coming up this year.
Oh. So where can people find Mad Maxine online at?
Online. So right now I'm trying to bump up my Instagram following. I'm old school, and as you noticed earlier, I'm not very tech savvy, so I'm stuck in my old ways. I'm like a 90-year-old when it comes to technology. So I figured Facebook out. So Mad Maxine has a decent presence on Facebook. I'm trying to figure out Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, all of them. But, you know, it's a lot to manage every single one of them. So mainly I'm on Facebook.
Okay. And does Mad Maxine have merch that people can buy?
So Mad Maxine, so far, I've got tattoos. I've got bracelets, of which I don't even have one on today. And then I've got stickers. I've got calendars. I don't have shirts yet. I get a lot of people ask for shirts. Hopefully shirts are coming in the near future.
Well, can we get Mad Max shirts or any of your race team?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Shirts. I do have the link on my Facebook page for our Mad Max merchandise. We've got shirts, we've got sweatshirts, we've got kit sizes as well this year, which we're really excited about. We've got a few little other knick-knacky things on our website as well.
Cool, cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on here. Is there anything else you'd like to tell my audience? Anything
No,
else?
that's
Okay.
about it. We wrapped it all up.
Yeah, but yeah, this has been yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've had other people who could not figure out Zoom at all. Me and him, like, he's sitting there going, we tried to interview him, and the whole interview, all you hear is him talking. You can't hear me. So literally, he's answering questions, and I'm like, all right,
figure it out.
we never did. He never did figure it out. So we're gonna have to go one of these days. We're gonna have. I told him, I was like, fine, we're just gonna do. He's a wrestler. He's a pro wrestler. I'm like, we're just gonna go to one of your matches when you're done. We're gonna do the interview and we're gonna film it.
Oh yeah.
I decide. But yeah, you keep kicking butt. Don't let people, you know, give you shit. You know, and I've been, like I said, I've been watching the Mad Max car drag racing on your streams and stuff like that. And your team seems to be really kicking butt too. Tell them congratulations. And I do appreciate you being on the show. And if I get this all done right, this might drop tomorrow at noon. If I get bored tonight and not go to bed, I'll work on it. So, but yeah, I appreciate you. And I do apologize for last weekend. That was my wife's like, hey, let's go to the cabin. I'm like,
really fine.
yeah, so we went to the cabin. You do. That was it. Happy wife, happy life. So that's what you.
Exactly.
So thank you so very much. And one of these days, I will reach out because I would love to get your maybe get your husband and your father.
Yeah, of course.
We'll talk cars.
Yeah.
And get that on there because you know I'm all about my people ask me about my show. I'm like, dude, if I'm interested or people fascinate me, I will interview them. because I don't care. I don't have a certain thing. I'm like, I love drag racing.
Sure.
So I'm like, hell with it, I'm gonna ask questions. So yeah, thank you so very much. I appreciate it. You keep kicking butt, and like I said, don't let haters hate, or let them hate, and just remember you live rent free. Uh
Yep.
so take care.